So in this video, we're going to be going over the Zcam E2 F6's menu system. So let's go ahead and get started. If I press menu here, we're going to go to record options. This is where you're going to find your resolution, project FPS, file format, split duration, time code, playback, and metadata setup, and pre-roll, raw over HDMI since you can shoot ProRes. ProRes RAW now. If you have the Atomos Ninja, you can record ProRes RAW using the HDMI and the camera. So for resolution, let's go ahead and go over it real quick. You have open gate, C6K, 6K all the way to HD, which is freaking insane. Project FPS is you can change your project FPS here as well. Now there's a trick later that for you to record 4K in 60 frames per second, you actually have to change it here, but I'll show you that in a minute. File format, you have a choice of MOV or MP4. If you're shooting RAW, you don't have to worry about that because you're shooting Z-RAW. So I'll just leave that to MOV, and then that's it. And then we'll go to video. You can change your variable frame rate here, which is high frames per second, or slow motion. You can go all the way to whatever you have, because right now I'm in 6K setting, so I'm only gonna have 30p. But if you change your encoder, like I show you guys right now, you can then go to 48 per second. Pretty much each resolution has its own high frame rate setting, so just go ahead and check out the manual if you're interested to see which ones, how high you can go at each encoder setting and resolution. So let's go ahead and leave it there. And as you can see, this camera has a lot of options: ProRes, H.264, H.265, and then RAW. So leave that to RAW. Bitrate, you can change it to high, medium, but I'm shooting RAW, so it's getting the maximum quality possible. And then let's go down to Proxy Track. It's on. Rotation, you can flip the camera upside down. Let's see, if you're shooting like on a helicopter or a gimbal and you need your image to be flipped, then you can do that here, which is kind of cool. This camera also has a time-lapse mode, so you can use that. Variable frame rate control is coarse or fine. I just leave it at coarse. You can crop the sensor in some mode as well, and you do that in this page right here. The low jello effect, I can't turn it on right now because I'm shooting RAW, but it pretty much reduces the jello-ness when moving from left and right, kind of like getting rid of what do you call this, the jello effect when you're whipping, like a rolling shutter. God, I don't know why that took forever. But yeah, rolling shutter, you can get rid of that if you use this up with some of the modes in the camera. Photo quality, you can shoot JPEG RAW, which is kind of sweet. Alright, so let's go to audio. Audio has input microphone XLR, mic left, XLR right, which is really nice. Input level you can change like usual, mic to line. I usually just use mic. I don't have any line levels. Input gain, you can change to manual or automatic, and you can change the volume per side, left or right. So that means you can reduce the volume on the right side, so you have a backup just in case somebody yells or something really loud comes on. So that's a really nice feature there. So encoder, you can choose AC or PCM. Output gain is 0 dB. Phantom power, I guess you can enable it if you have it plugged in. Audio display I have on, so it's pretty much your meter right there. And that's pretty much it for audio. Let's go ahead and go down to exposure. Alright, exposure, you have some flicker reduction. I am in the 60 Hz country, so we'll leave that on. I changed the shutter speed here, so you can change that right there. Aperture, I do have a manual lens on it right now, so I'm not going to be able to change the aperture in the camera. ISO, you can change the ISO all the way up and down. I have it set at 5,400 right now, maximum and minimum. Alright, if you do have their interchangeable mount that has a variable ND or an electronic ND, you can change that setting in the camera, which is really cool. So you got END module, but I don't have that. Alright, like I said, minimum ISO is auto, and then maximum ISO is 5,000. And you can change that. Alright, just have all those in auto mode, and then metering mode is center. Shutter operation I have at speed instead of angle, but if you want to change it, then you can change it right there. ISO control is fine. That's okay. I don't have any autofocus speed, so alright guys, so let's go ahead and go to white balance. White balance mode, you can do the usuals, but you can also do manual from 2300 to 30,000, which is insane. Tint and magenta controls right here. Priority is white, obviously. God, that's messed up, man. That's lock and record. I have it set to off because it's shooting raw anyway. All right, focus. I'm not going to be able to do anything here because I do have a manual focus lens, but you can see there's a flexible zone area, area size medium, change focus area, continuous autofocus if you have it, and then live autofocus, sensitivity, manual focus assist. So those are all the settings for focus if you have a compatible lens on the camera. Let's take a look at image. Image profile is going to be Z-Log 2 because I am shooting raw. Sharpness is weak. Noise reduction, brightness, saturation, contrast, luminance level. You can, if you're shooting H.264, H.265, you can change that stuff here, which is kind of nice. I honestly would just turn sharpness down and noise reduction off, like it's on right now, because that's pretty much the most important part for me. You can connect the camera to a Wi-Fi or a phone using the Wi-Fi with the phone, so that's kind of cool. It has a built-in Wi-Fi module in the back. You just need to install the antenna and you're good to go. So you have that, HDMI, right? And lastly, let's take a look at the settings or the system settings. This is clear settings here. We'll delete everything, pretty much reset settings to default value. I can format the card. Let's go assist tools. You can have some assist tools like scopes. You got peak, focus speaking. You got exposure, zebra, frame lines, which pretty much are guidelines, change your aspect ratio and whatnot. And then you do have some center mark, grid line, safe areas, and yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Let's go down to Lutz. Now this is loaded with a lot of Lutz. It's a lot of Lutz in this camera, I tell you. Look at all that. That's some good stuff. And additionally, they offer the same Lutz downloadable, so you can use it in DaVinci Resolve and stuff like that. So yeah. You can de-squeeze it if you're shooting anamorphic. You have 1.3, 1.5, 1.8, and 2 times de-squeeze setting here in camera, which is, again, really impressive. User profile, you can save your profile, load your profile, save it to the card if you have multiple cameras. And then user button, you can customize what the buttons on the side do. Okay. Alright, and I do have the record indicator to be on, so I know if I'm shooting by myself, I know that it's recording because the light is blinking red. Alright. LCD brightness I have at 100. And then power, auto power on, standby, low alarm, power output. And then language, you can change from English to Chinese. Date and time, time zone, camera status just shows you how much memory you have, the temperature, and the serial number. And then the version of the firmware, 0.96, which is the newest one that just came out. And that's pretty much it, guys. That is the menu system of the Zcam F6, the full frame camera from Zcam. And one more thing, to play back the footage you have, by the way, you just press the button, the power button once, and it's gonna go to the play mode, and you just press OK. So now what I'm gonna show you is how you can shoot Z-RAW in 60 frames per second 4K. So what you're gonna do is go to menu, and you're gonna go to record. You're gonna change the resolution to C4K, which is the highest 4K raw high frame rates you can shoot at 60. So press that, and then you're gonna go to project FPS, and you're gonna set that to 60. Okay, and then you're gonna go to video and just make sure you have Z-RAW turned on. That's it. And that is how you shoot 60 frames per second in Z4K with the Zcam. So I'm going to show you what happens if you don't do it the way I just showed you. So I'm going to go with this to 24. Okay, I'm going to change the project FPS to 24. I'm going to go to video. I'm going to go to encoder. Z-RAW is not enabled. If I go to this, I can shoot 90, but it's only for H.265. So you absolutely have to do it here first, for RAW at least, and then move over to your encoder, and now you're shooting 60 frames per second in RAW.